Well, I guess I was wrong about Salamangreat actually taking over the metagame. They actually look like they've done it. So tomorrow, when I'm feeling a little bit better, we're going to go through list from the ARG and the NLG. What was it? Wii tournament. It's not the Wii. Oh, whatever the new Nintendo system is, I can't remember it at the moment. The Switch, yes. They had a lot of Salamander there. I'm going to talk about some trends in this video, kind of some things that we've seen, but just know I'm sick, and yeah, Papa was wrong. All right, let's dig on into this discussion, shall we? Alright, so let's talk about General Salamangreat evolution. Kind of start off, and I'm going to use the term evolution loosely here to kind of talk about a few things I've kind of seen with the deck. So it does look like a lot of the builds are actually choosing to play the Psychic Wielder. You're kind of on Psychic Wielder, or you're playing another card, which I'll talk about in a little bit in this video. But Psychic Wielder kind of allows you to combo out, play the game, and I've definitely seen a lot of the builds from the NLG tournament were going after Rivalry and Gozen in the main deck, both as essential cards to effectively try to slow down the game so that, you know, Salamangreat can play. I guess when you play Floodgates in a deck like this, well, you actually do allow the deck to slow down. Now, initially, I think I might have been a little bit too harsh with the deck, ending on the Sunlight Wolf, the Negate, and whatnot, also backing it up with hand traps is pretty good. Like, call it what it is. The deck definitely is playing on the same axis that kind of everything else is at this point in time. And the ARG this weekend, granted it was a small number of people, we looked at the event and we actually saw that, hey, you know, call it what it is, but there was a big chunk of Salamangreat. Like, I think this deck might have surpassed everybody's expectations. Now, that's a good thing when you have a deck like this, but we have Sky Strikers at nearly full power, and we have Thunder, and we have Altergeist, and these three decks that have held down, you know, the big block for the longest time, look like they're struggling right now to maintain this presence in the metagame, and it's what happens when you give budget players good cards. So I'm looking forward to seeing the overall presence of Salamangreat kind of taking over the metagame. Now, I do want to talk about innovations in the deck besides Rivalry. I saw a few people from the NLG tournament that were playing Flame Buffalo, or Buffalo. Buffalo. Such an interesting name for a card, but you can pick these up on TCG Player right now. Now, they're like 40 to 45 cents, kind of just depends on if you want to pick them up, and it is a level 3 fire, which is kind of everything I want, and it's also Cyberse. So the downside is this card does take up your normal summon. So if this face-up card leaves the field, you can discard one Cyberse monster, and if you do, draw 2 cards. You can only use this effect, a Flame Buffalo, or Buffalo, once per turn. So essentially, I think the biggest thing I heard from people was you're kind of restricting the things that you can do with him. That's fine, but a lot of people are making the argument to play this, and I'll cover the list from NLG that we're playing this so you guys can kind of see that, and that'll be around Tuesday, Wednesday when we get those up. But you guys kind of have to realize, a lot of people like draw cards. All right, when a card says draw 2, we're kind of looking more towards that now. I've heard you can't make Mirage Stallion. Well, actually, yeah, you can make Mirage Stallion with it, but you won't get your draw power. You kind of have to just link out with this guy and kind of start along with your day. But I've heard the general discard spinning off of this draw 2 is really fucking good. But yes, they are available on TCG Player. If you guys do want to test the tech option for this deck, I mean, literally $1.50, $2 get you a play set of these shipped to your front door. You're good to go. So do understand that you do have the option to test that. People are always like, Rob, you got investments? I give you one. And people will still be like, what are you talking about? So there's that. Now, something else kind of floating around in the metagame right now that has to do with Salamangreat is actually Artifact Sanctum and Scythe, and I think the ratio I saw was 1 Scythe, 3 Sanctum from the ARG. Now, I'm not exactly sure where this idea is going, I really like it, don't get me wrong. But if you hard draw the Scythe, you're just kind of in a shit time. But I guess when you have a card that literally ends the opponent's entire turn and locks them out of the extra deck, it's absolutely beautiful. And we've been seeing Scythe in Sanctum. I mean, Trickstar's kind of been the one that was playing it for the longest time, but a lot more people are kind of looking to this engine and going, oh shit, summoning a monster that literally says, okay, lock your opponent out of the extra deck. Why would you not want to play something like that? So yes, we are really, really, really starting to head towards an era right now where Scythe and Sanctum literally make all of the difference in the format. I'm not exactly the biggest fan of Scythe and Sanctum. I think it's cute, right? Don't get me wrong, but you're going to have to spend a little bit of money to get a Scythe, because Scythes, they've been going up in price for the longest time now. So if you are of the dedicated Salamangreat and you want to, I want to say it's a going first build that is looking to use these cards to kind of, well, of course it'd be a going first deck because you want to set the Sanctum, watch your opponent try to combo off, lock them out, move on along with your day, like as you should, because it's an effect that activates on the opponent's turn. Thank you, Scythe. Thank you, Sanctum, for granting us the ability to play Yu-Gi-Oh! But, I mean, in terms of idealism, you're probably looking at like $15 max, and I think I'm shooting a little bit high on that range right now for Scythes and Sanctum. Well, one Scythe, 3 Sanctum. But if you're a budget player and you got $15, go ahead, pick them up. I think it'll be worth it. I mean, you can build the competitive deck for possibly $100 if you got your Helios early. So there's that. Next up on the list, we need to talk about hand trap selection of the decks playing. And the big one I want to talk about is Effect Veiler. A good chunk of all of these lists I have seen for all of these events, Effect Veiler has been everywhere. Veiling the essential starter in the deck is so good. Like, Veiler's also not once per turn, so that's one big thing that I gotta actually attribute to the card is when you have a hand trap, I think Veiler kind of sucks in the long run, but when you have a hand trap, it is not restricted to once per turn, and you can use multiples if you dead draw them, unlike the sisters. Okay, that's good. So I gotta give it up to Ash. Going into this format, hitting the combo starter with Ash is so fucking good, it is ridiculous. Now on the flip side of the hand traps, we're starting to see more Ogre in the format. I like Ogre because if you Ogre the Guard Dragon, or the move on the Crusadia, if you Ogre the Saruja, if you Ogre any essential combo piece that the Salamangreat is going to want to do, well, the deck just kind of stops. And that's why I said that the deck was very fragile in the initial stages, was because, like, if you do anything to kind of just throw a wrench in the combo, they kind of just, they look at you and go, oh my, you had the hand trap. Yes, oh yes, we did. So just kind of know where you have to, just understand with what cards you open in your hand and which combo pieces and things that you need to think are going to be a terrible out for you. Yes, play around those cards. Don't try to get super fucking cheeky with things. Just go with the flow and what you open, especially for Veiler incorrectly. Now, the last thing I want to talk about here is Super Poly. Now, I wanted to make a video at some point talking about cards that you can use against Salamangreat. Now, Salamangreat do have a built-in fusion monster to combat themselves. They got this special Sirocco treatment. I love the fact that they did this because it's one Salamangreat monster plus one monster. I believe it is super generic. Also, Super Poly plays around the traps. I actually it sucks that Super Poly's a one of, and you have to hard draw it throughout the course of the deck. But when you actually get to it and you blow your opponent out with it, it's great. Plus, Super Poly actually doubles for your Thunder Dragon matchup, which I actually think people are going to start exploring a lot more now, looking to play Super Poly because, one, Predaplant, and two, the Salamangreat fusion. Literally, when you have a format where both cards actually get use out of something like that, it's great. So the big card, like I said right now, if you are having problems with the Salamangreat format, pick up your Super Poly, pick up your copy of the fusion, and you'll be good to go. Like, when your deck has a built-in win con, it's also funny because Salamangreat itself is maining this. I actually thought a lot of the builds would be signing it, but boy, oh boy, was I also wrong about that. Once again, when you have built-in win cons against yourself, you're going to take advantage of this. And same thing with Goes, and same thing with Rivalry. You know, if you can build these cards into your deck and not be hurt with them, you know, why would you not? Free advantage literally all day long. So there's that. But yes, approach your super polys with the full intent to have them to stop the fusion, stop the bullshit that the deck actually does. Okay, that's my discussion for Salamangreat. I actually think the deck might actually be better than I anticipated. We'll wait to see when I get regional results later in the week, and next week I will definitely start doing discussions or into the first week of March, whichever, setting up for the new format. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Apologize if my voice is a little bit raspy, but alright guys, I'm out. Peace. The ride never, well, truly ends. Thank you, patrons. Without you guys, I don't know what I'd be wearing in these videos. I might be a truffle shuffle incident all over again. Guys, please also check out Vanquil40 for some awesome Vanguard content. Some other interesting stuff you might find up here on the left or in the description as well. Thanks for watching.